Welcome back to another daily Leetcode walkthrough. If you have any questions at all during this video, please drop them in the comments and I will make sure to respond. Today we are looking at a classic game theory problem called Stone Game 2. Let's dive right in. Here is the problem page. There are quite a few rules to keep track of, so let's break it down visually, step by step. We are given a row of stone piles, represented by a list of numbers. Alice and Bob take turns taking piles from the front, and Alice always goes first. The big twist here is a special multiplier variable called m. It starts at 1, and it dictates how far into the row you can reach on your turn. When it's your turn, you can take a certain number of piles from the front. Let's call that number x. The rule is, x must be at least 1, and at most, 2 times the current value of m. After you take your piles, the m variable might grow. It updates to become whichever is larger, its old value, or the x amount of piles you just took. Both players are super smart and play perfectly. Alice wants to get the highest score possible, while Bob is actively trying to limit her score. Our job is to find out what Alice's maximum possible score is under these conditions. Let's look at an example. With our starting list, m is 1, so 2 times 1 is 2. This means on her first turn, Alice can choose to take either 1 pile or 2 piles. If Alice takes just the first pile, she gets 2 stones. The m variable stays at 1. Now it's Bob's turn, and he can also take up to 2 piles. Since he's playing optimally, he'll likely take the next 2 piles which have 7 and 9 stones. But what if Alice takes 2 piles right away? She gets 9 stones. Now, m updates to 2. This means Bob's reach just expanded. On his turn, he can take up to 4 piles. Since there are only 3 left, Bob just takes all the rest, leaving Alice with nothing else. Her final score is 9. Just a quick heads up, we'll be walking through the logic using Python, but the concepts apply anywhere. I'll show the full code for Java, C++, and JavaScript at the end of the video. The first approach is using dynamic programming with memoization. Because players have choices, and those choices branch out, we need to explore every possible scenario. This is known as a minimax problem. In a minimax problem, Alice is trying to maximize her own score. To do that, she needs to pick the move that leaves Bob with the worst possible options, thereby minimizing his future score. To quickly calculate scores, we use a trick called a suffix sum array. Instead of recalculating the remaining stones every time, we pre-calculate the total stones from any given point to the end of the list. So at the first spot, the total remaining is 26. We can write a recursive function to try all paths. It needs to know 2 things. What index are we currently at in the piles array? And what is the current value of m? Here is the genius part of the logic. If you want to know the maximum stones you can get on your turn, it is simply all the stones remaining on the board, minus the maximum score the other player can get starting from the next turn. Let's look at the code. First, we set up a memoization table to store states we've already calculated so we don't repeat work. Then, we build our suffix sum array by iterating backwards through the piles. Next, we define our recursive maxstones function. The first thing we check is our base case. If our current index plus twice our m multiplier is enough to reach the end of the array, we just take all the remaining stones. Before we do any heavy lifting, we check our memo table. If we have already figured out the max score for this exact index and m value before, we just return that saved answer immediately. If we haven't seen this state, we try all possible moves. We loop x from 1 up to 2 times m. For each move, we call the function recursively to find out what the opponent's best score would be from that new position. We want to find the move that leaves the opponent with the absolute minimum possible score. Finally, our max score for this state is the total stones remaining from this point onward, minus that minimum score we figured out the opponent would get. We save that to our memo table, return it, and kick off the whole process by calling the function at index 0, with the em starting at 1. Here is the full code for approach 1, all put together. Okay, now for the second method. Instead of using recursion, which starts at the front and digs deep, we can use tabulation, which builds a table starting from the very end of the array, and works its way backwards to the beginning. We will create a 2-dimensional DP table. Just like the recursive state, the rows represent our current index, the columns represent the m multiplier, and the value stored in the cell is the maximum stones we can get. We initialize our DP table with zeros. We make it slightly larger than the piles array to handle out-of-bounds checks easily. We also set up our suffix sum array exactly like we did in the first approach. We fill in some base cases. If m is somehow as large as the total length of the array, It means whoever's turn it is can just scoop up every single remaining pile, so we just fill those cells with the suffix sum. Now the main loops. We iterate backwards from the last index down to 0. Inside that we try all sensible values for our ER multiplier, also working backwards. This ensures that when we calculate a move, the future states it relies on have already been solved. Finally, the inner loop tries every valid X pick. We use the exact same minimax logic, the total stones remaining, minus the opponent's best score from the DP table. We keep taking the maximum of these options to find our best move, and here is the complete code for the tabulation approach. Once the loops finish, our answer is sitting right at index 0, with an M value of 1, which is the exact starting state of the game. Let's talk about performance. The time complexity is big O of n cubed. This is because we have two state variables that each go up to n, and inside we have a loop that can run up to n times. The space complexity is big O of n squared because of our two-dimensional tables. The key takeaways for this problem are using suffix sums to instantly know the remaining total and understanding the core minimax pattern. Your best score is the total available minus the opponent's best possible counterplay. A quick note on edge cases. What if the array is incredibly small, like just one item? Our code handles this gracefully, because our base case immediately checks if 2 times m is larger than the remaining array, and lets the first player just take everything. Before we show the other languages, I want to quickly explain why this channel looks and sounds the way it does. You can probably tell this is narrated by AI. I built this workflow to generate instant explanations the moment a daily problem drops so I can study efficiently. I upload them here with 0 ads and no sponsors to help you do the same. If you have feedback on the format, let me know in the comments. If you want to test this code out yourself without retyping it, you can go to the leetcodeunlock.com link in the description. You can copy the exact code shown in this video, which also helps support the channel. As promised, here are the full solutions for Java, C++, and JavaScript. Here is the full solution in Java using the tabulation method. Next up, here is the C++ version. And finally, here is the solution in JavaScript. Before we finish up, I want to mention I have another channel called Leetcode Unlocked. I'm on a mission to eventually post a solution for literally every single Leetcode problem on the platform. If you want to study problems outside of just the daily challenge, make sure to check it out. If you want to help support that goal of covering every problem, you can donate at buymeaboba.com/leetcodedaily. Also, please make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. I post the daily Leetcode problem as soon as it comes out so you can get your streak done early. Keep coding, and I'll catch you in the next one.